I'll start with the politics since that's where you ended. I think the politics of this are um, horrible for Republicans. I think it's tremendously short sighted for Kevin McCarthy. If you just look at the results of the 2022 elections, it seems to me that what many voters were saying, particularly those gettable voters that the parties have been fighting about, that have in large ways determined the outcomes of the 2018, 2020, and 22 elections and who has control in Washington, they were saying, in effect, we might not like the status quo, but we don't prefer crazy. And what you're offering us, Republicans, in many cases, is crazy. And Republicans, in some ways, box themselves in on the crazy question in the weeks after the January 6th riots, insurrection, when Kevin McCarthy chose to go to Mar-a-Lago, re-embrace Donald Trump, and try to normalize what had happened. That happens, weeks after January 6th. Kevin McCarthy, as part of this effort to become Speaker of the House, makes this pledge that he will make these tapes available. This is something that Tucker Carlson had suggested on his program McCarthy might do to win holdover votes, to win over opponents on the right fringe to McCarthy's speakership. McCarthy agreed to do it, and he provided these tapes to Tucker Carlson. I think the politics of it are sort of self-evidently stupid and foolish. And McCarthy set this in motion a long time ago. He's making good on a promise, and it will hurt Republicans. I think it will hurt Republicans. I think that there are two other sort of primary questions. The first is, should the American public be given access to some 40,000 hours reportedly of these raw tapes, many of them security camera tapes of what happened in the Capitol that day? And I think there are probably good faith arguments on both sides of that. I think Jonah and I disagree on that. I would argue, even though I'm sort of a transparency hawk, transparency fiend, I would argue, no, I don't think it's wise to provide these and make them public, because with a sophisticated opponent or somebody who wanted to attack the Capitol, they could determine where we have coverage and where we don't, and help plot future attacks on the Capitol. The second question is whether it was wise to make these tapes available to Tucker Carlson. And on that, I think the question is, in my view, the answer is even more obviously no, this is a disaster. Tucker Carlson has made very clear he's not interested in the truth. He has hawked conspiracy theories since he got his show in 2017 on a consistent basis. He produced a sort of fake documentary called Patriot Purge that he produced for Fox Nation about the January 6th attack, which included a number of crazy conspiracy theories, many of them self-contradictory, as you pointed out, Sarah, and really tried to rewrite the narrative of January 6th. There was an analysis, I think I read it in the Washington Post, that Tucker had made reference to January 6th and this kind of revisionist history more than 100 times in 2021. And he's telling a story that just isn't true. So giving these raw tapes to Tucker Carlson, when we know that he has done this in the past, specifically about January 6th, is bad enough. We also know that he's done this about other things. Remember, there was an interview that Tucker conducted with Kanye West, in which Kanye West said a number of very objectionable things, including some anti-Semitic things. That was edited out. Tucker presented the interview with Kanye West as if it were a normal conversation between normal individuals, and later Vice got its hands on the raw, unedited tapes, and it was very clear that what Tucker presented to his audience was almost the opposite in many respects of what the interview actually told. So I think given those two things, this was grossly irresponsible of Kevin McCarthy, and the outcome that we're seeing now, which is Tucker Carlson spinning a narrative that isn't true about January 6th, was predictable and inevitable.